We are Funk Motorsport, your heat management specialists. Based in the UK, we strive for perfection, developing thermal products trusted by professional race teams and drivers worldwide. Performance, protection, reliability.
More horsepower, less wear, better performance. Introducing new GP1 high-performance driven racing oil, developed specifically for competition, classic, and import vehicle applications.
Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of the 2021 UK Drift Championship. You are joining us live from a very sunny, well, it was a minute ago anyway, at Teesside Autodrome. My name is Ian Waddington, and I'm joined in the commentary tower by Mark Buckle. And today, well, it's our pro day, pro competition, the big show, Mark. We've seen some incredible practice already. We've been out, we've just reset the track, cleaned up, and we just had a little conversation about, once again, the problem that we had at round 3, a very sticky circuit, grip levels through the roof again.
Yeah, absolutely. When you walk on the track now, your trainers are sticking to the tarmac, so let's hope we don't have any breakages. Obviously, the tyres are going to be smoking like crazy, and let's hope we don't have any gearbox or drive shaft issues, which we've had this morning. Unfortunately, Arik has blown his gearbox in his Toyota Sora, so we unfortunately won't see Arik this afternoon, but yeah, but everybody else is looking. I mean, the grid today is fantastic, and the standard in practice this morning was, yeah, something else.
Well, there was a few guys out there, Mark, that we like to say they're trying to win practice. They were door on door, a few guys, a little bit of contact, a bit of a hustle and bustle. You can't win practice. You've got to win qualifying first, and you've got to win the top 32 or top 24 this afternoon. Look, we're talking about the track, we're talking about the conditions. Let's take a look how yesterday played out. A video from Beast Motors. So there we go, that's how yesterday played out. And we got to crown our 2021 UK Drift Championship Pro 2 champion. The first ever one, Mark, Callum Payne, well deserved. What a drive, took top step on the podium as well. Just pipped Gary Mickey to it. It was a fight all the way to the podium.
It was fantastic, and we are fortunate to have some of the drivers that were out yesterday with it, and including the Pro 2 champion Callum Payne. And watching him this morning in practice, I think he was behind Bagsy, and I tell you what, he was on Bagsy's door.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's got nothing to prove today. He's now the Pro 2 champion, and will obviously automatically promote it to the Pro class for 2022. So Callum Payne, nothing to lose today. We're running a top 24. There are over 30 odd drivers this afternoon, so I think Callum could be one to watch today.
I think he could, yeah. I think you're right. I think, you know, he's going to come out here and surprise a few of the pro guys, because they've watched these Pro 2 guys evolve over the last 4 rounds, and now Callum Payne's really stepped up. He said, all I'm going to do is paint this car again, make it look fresh, a little more bit of power for next year, and that's it, I'm ready to rock and roll. And look, these guys, they're hungry for it. As you say, we've got an 8 from yesterday, making the step into the pro class today, and it's been brilliant watching them out there, as I say, evolving through the series so far.
How impressive the guys were yesterday. I spoke to Arunas this morning, who's currently third in our championship today, and he said he was watching yesterday and he was blown away with the speed that the guys are entering in the Pro 2 class, and he's like, we really are going to have to step up our game in the Pro class today to keep up with these Pro 2 guys.
Exactly that. Look, we're talking about the track once again. Let's take a look at a virtual run-through of our track, and I'm going to hand it over to James Grimsey, our head judge, who's going to talk you through exactly what it takes to get that 100-point run. James, over to you.
Thank you, Ian. Hello, everybody. Essentially, what us judges want to see is a driver to grab their car by the scruff of the neck, hurl it around the track and demonstrate they've got full control. So fast entry, we don't want to see people lifting off too long. Snappy in there, if they want to come in with a flick, that would be fantastic. All the way through deep to 2. 2 is a little bit early to try and get them off the high line. Extend through to 3, really fast. This is the section you'll see some of the guys with grip really lay it down all the way through that long period there. Flick to 5. This is a touch and go coming up. Idea to get in early, get out early, then through this last section. We don't want to see reverse drifting, which we saw a couple of times yesterday.
So there we go, judges. Just you know, look, we've changed it a little bit. We've moved a few clipping points, and that white line, you can see it right on the left-hand side of your screen for you guys watching at home. That white line yesterday, in qualifying and in the battles, was a big player, because a lot of these guys are used to running out on that concrete, taking, you know, liberties. If there was a concrete wall there, like Peden said, if this was Ireland and there was a concrete wall there, you wouldn't be out that far on the track. So the white line is the edge of the track. 2 wheels over there will be points deducted. 3 wheels over that is an instant 0. So there we go. The track looking beautiful, as always, at Teesside Autodrome. I'm ready to kick off qualifying, and we're going to head down to the grid to find out who will be the first driver making their way out for their first qualifying run. So, clerk of the course there, just getting the thumbs up and telling the start line marshal, Dale, to bring forward the first car, and it will be this incredible young man, Finn Wells.
Yeah, Finn Wells, I mean, we spoke about him yesterday. If you weren't here yesterday or you missed the live stream yesterday, Finn Wells, they've managed to skim 60 kilograms off this car since the last round. It's basically, underneath all that lovely livery is a stock 350Z underneath all that lovely artwork. And this young man, though, I spoke to him this morning and said, look, just stick to that qualifying line that you did so well yesterday that got him through to today, and you are in with a shout of getting into that all-important top 24 for this afternoon.
So there we go. Down through the gears comes Finn Wells, zeroed out on his first qualifying run of the day yesterday, looking a lot more confident today. Spoke to him and his father as they was retrieving the splitter that he ripped off of the front bumper yesterday. Last night they said to me, look, we are absolutely blown away. Yeah, we're gutted we didn't get it into the top 4 yesterday and have a shot at a podium, but we are so happy to make 2 top 8s in round 3 and round 4. And Finn Wells there doing an absolutely sterling job in his first qualifying run.
Yeah, just shy off clip 3. I mean, you can see, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, just to explain those of you that might not have been to drifting before, if it's the first time here or first time watching at home, we have 3 judges. We have Peden Nielsen, we have Rich Newton and James Grimsey, and the drivers start with 100 points per judge, and then the scores are added together and divided by 3 to give them an overall score. And if you are watching on the live stream at home, you will see Peden scored 70 points for that run. Rich and James both scoring him with a 70 point, and you average the 3 out, it gives us 70.3. So Finn Wells with a score on the board.
Yeah, so Finn Wells putting a 70.3 on the board, first qualifying run in the bag and done. We're feeling a lot more confident now. We go back to the line to Brad Wall. making his debut here at the UK Drift Championship. And what a debut. Yesterday finished 4th, just missed a podium with a few minor mistakes. Judges saying it was so close. With this guy, a lot of potential.
Yep, the
Garage
only
500 driver. Brad Wall picking up that pace on initiation. Yesterday was lifted off the throttle quite a bit on initiation, and judges saying that they wanted to see full commitment, especially today, down into outside zone 3. He goes, looks for that other outer zone there on the tyre wall. Sacrificed that just ever so slightly off of that qualifying line. Needed to push a little bit harder, but putting in a safe run right now is Brad Wall. So Brad Wall getting the job done and across the line, and he'll be just trying to shake off those nerves. As we say, the first few drivers we have are our Pro 2 drivers making their way into the Pro grid for today. So scores dropping in, 72 from Peden and Rich. Waiting for James's score to drop in before we can average them out. And a 71 from James. Maybe he's the grumpy one today. Peden and Rich liking that. 71.7 for Bradley Wall in his first qualifying run. So Brad Wall getting the job done. Tom Farine-Clark up next on the line. Oh no, and Tom Farine-Clark doesn't make it to the line. So Tom Farine-Clark doesn't make it to the line. Sorry, jumping ahead of myself there. It's Aaron Grantham. Paperwork. So many bits of paperwork up here in the tower, I'm losing track of where I am. Aaron Grantham now steps up to the line, sorry. And Aaron Grantham taking home the Driven Oils hard charger yesterday. The judges judging him as a guy that pushed 110%. Unfortunately didn't make it through too far in competition, but showed incredible talent yesterday. These initiations and the line from 1 to 2 from Aaron Grantham yesterday were absolutely on point. Looks like he's replicating that again today. Nice line down into outside zone 3, nice and deep into that zone. Wheels in to out of zone 4 as he transitions back through the second hairpin now. Looks for the touch and go, just avoids it. Stays on track, absolutely hammers down across the line.
Yeah, I saw James lift his arms up there when he was heading towards that touch and go, and he was a little bit shy through the first hairpin. He was very, very close to the inside curb, so I don't think that's going to be as good a score as what he would have hoped, but still, it's a score on the board, and obviously these drivers have got 2 runs to do. For those of you that are fresh to drifting, they will do 1 run, get 1 score, go back to the back of the grid, and then do another run, all in numerical order until we've sorted out those all-important top 24 drivers that will go through this afternoon. Just so that you are aware, the top 8 drivers will automatically get a place in the top 16. And then the drivers from 9th to 24 will battle it out to join those top 8 qualifiers in the all-important top 16 final. And that was a 75-point run there for Aaron Grantham.
Yep, and now it is Tom Farine-Clark. Tom Farine-Clark comes off the line looking strong today. Yesterday had a few issues in practice, looked strong in the first half of practice, went out second time, just couldn't get it together, drops a wheel on initiation though, has to back out of it, manages to get himself back high on the bank. He's very wide though. Going to sacrifice that line. Yeah, look, completely messed up the line there into that first hairpin. He's going to go wide once again, taking all of the track. That's Tom Farine-Clark. Maybe some pro nerves getting to him a little bit there. Trucks a wheel over the edge of the line and finishes up the run. Scrappy there from Tom Farine-Clark.
Yeah, I mean, this layout that we're running here, the traditional Teesside South Bank layout, it's all important on that very first initiation. If the drivers carry enough speed through clipping point 1, they get through to clipping point 2, and they're able to carry enough speed through 2 and drop down and get to 3 and be able to carry the speed into 3 to run a wide line around that first hairpin. So the scores are in. Peden scores 57, Rich a 50, James a 59. So Richard punishing Tom there for that run, and an average is out at 55.3.
So back to the line we go. One of the first of our Team Jap Speed drivers steps up to the line. It will be Rob Black. This incredible S15. And Rob not making an appearance back for the championship since round 1, got on the podium, and then hasn't made a return since. But Rob saying things have calmed down now, and he wants to get back out, get some seat time in the car. And knew that his teammate Matt Denham was here this weekend and said, if I can get in there and have a battle with Matt, that'll be an incredible weekend for him. Sacrifices outside zone 2 though, low on the bank now, pushes wide. That's going to upset his line into that first hairpin. can see he's going to have to work really hard off throttle for quite a while to get that out of zone. Transitions back for 4 as he now gets himself back in, misses that touch and go, looks for the final clipping point. And Rob Black gets a run under his belt.
Yeah, these drivers as well. The top 32 in the Pro Championship will head down to Silverstone at the beginning of October, where we run our final round for the Pro class within the car show tracks. And I know that Rob is desperately wants to go to Silverstone. And the scores are in. Peden with a 79, Rich with a 78, and James with a 77. So a 78-point run in the bank for Rob Black, which puts him top qualifier at this moment in time.
Yeah, provisional top qualifier at the moment.
And bearing in mind, these guys are the Pro 2 guys from yesterday, so it just shows you. Right, the driver on the line now, Harry Archer, in a 1.8 turbo-powered MX-5. It might be small and diminutive, but you wait until you see how Harry drives this MX-5. Look at the speed, look at the line. Consider this is only a 1.8, running just over 200 horsepower, probably about 250 shy, though, losing loads of speed, miles off clipping point 3, sadly. Gets out to the zone on the outside of that hairpin, gets round to 5. Now there's the touch and go, a little bit shy of that, and then on 6 and over the line in the MX-5.
Yeah, it looks very, very promising on outside zone 2. That line was incredible. Then just run out of a little bit of puff as he come down towards outside zone 3. As he come down the bank, just didn't have enough beans to make his way round there.
And the scores are dropping in, and Peden has scored that as a 67. James with a 65, and Rich drops in with a 65 as well. But once again, these drivers, I mean, they get this one first run in the bank, settle their nerves, join the back of the queue, chill out, take the helmets off, get some fresh air, and they'll get another chance, another bite of the cherry. Right, here is your Pro 2 champion 2021, Callum Payne, #DriftJesus. That's his name on Instagram as well, Drift Jesus. So Callum Payne comes down off the line absolutely flat out in this S14 and gives a nice little bit of a flick, very little handbrake, and out to clipping point 2. Could have been a little bit deeper, but then shallows it off, which he's expected to do. Carries plenty of speed through 3, and there is just about the line that the judges have been asking for. A nice wide line through that first hairpin, which that is the first time we've seen that today. Just catches the touch and go over clipping point 6 and over the line sideways for Callum Payne. So if I was a betting man, I would say we're going to see some 80s.
This early on, you're going to see some 80s already from Callum Payne. Callum Payne, a strong contender, looking good.
Absolutely.
You know, he just so controlled. Look at that, Peden straight in there with an 80. Very, very nice run from Callum Payne, his first qualifying run of the day. Rich drops his score in, so it will be an 80.3, I do believe, on the average.
Check you out with your maths.
In maths.
Yeah,
2 days of it now. I'm back into the zone. Back into the zone again. Here we go. First up of our pro drivers making their step up to the line is, of course, Martin Wonnacott in the Betty Surf Shop Toyota Chaser.
Do we know what sort of power this is running?
It's probably ridiculous. Once again for Martin Wonnacott. I know he's had some time out in this car this year, been painstakingly building it, getting it ready to go. Martin Wonnacott came out this morning in practice, absolutely swinging. Look at this nice fast initiation. Just shy on outside zone 1 though, and he's going to be shy on 2 as well. Now Wonnacott hammers the throttle flat to the floor, looks for 3, tidily done on throttle nice and early as he picks up that outside zone. Dials on the angle as he transitions back into the second hairpin, starts to smoke out the cameras as Martin Wonnacott looks for that final clipping point, just catches the edge of it, and across the line goes Wonnacott.
Yep, so the first of our pro drivers, Martin Wonnacott, travelled a long, long way to come here today. He's from the deep south, and his wife Karina's not here with him this weekend, but I'm sure she's watching at home supporting. So good afternoon, Karina, if you are watching, which I assume you will be. And Peden scores a 77, Rich a 78, and James a 76. So it'll be a 77-point run for Martin. One on the board. Right, next up on the line.
Yeah, it's Matt Smith. Matt Smith now sits on the line. This incredible E46 BMW S54 underneath the bonnet. This car, one of my favourites on the grid, because take the livery off and it is just an immaculately clean-looking road car. S54 with all CSL bits. Got 370 horsepower, full wise fab, and his main sponsor, of course, Volkscraft up the side of the car, running that Zestino tyre program. And Matt Smith been going for these wild flick initiations all morning. Sometimes he can pull it off, sometimes the grip in the car just stops him from getting right to the outside edge of the circuit. Now starts to pull it together as Matt Smith looks for the outside zone. Tidy job from Matt Smith as he transitions back round, second hairpin into that touch and go. He goes, looks for the final clipping point, drops a wheel over the edge of the circuit. Nicely done from Matt Smith.
Yeah, very nicely done. Yeah, that's that final clipping point. Those that were watching yesterday, or if you've not, we'll just let you know that that is the bogey clipping point. The judges are allowing 3 wheels off track. However, it is once that third wheel goes over that white line, then that will be it'll be a 0 point run. So you're aware, 0 point runs are scored by the drivers understeering, drifting the wrong way, which we saw yesterday just before the finish line after the final clip. Straightening,
yeah,
between 2 runs, prolonged amount of straightening. These are all, and obviously a spin will be a 0 as Matt's scores drop in with a 69 from Peden, 70 from Rich, and a 71 from James. So 70 points from Matt Smith. Right, next up on the line, local driver. You can see Teesside karting on the door. This is Owen Atkinson. This car running a V8 under the bonnet, a 1UZ, and it's turbocharged as well, isn't it?
Yeah, got a big truck turbo bolted to the front of it as Owen Atkinson been struggling to get this car 110% all year. Said he's found loads of problems, but now seems to have it working. You can see the windows flapping open, foot flat to the floor, and Atkinson uses every inch of the circuit here at Teesside. Collects outside zone 2, now comes down the hill for 3. Very tidily done from Owen Atkinson. Representing Teesside karting, as you said. Transitions back, looking very nice. Is Atkinson once again using every inch of the tarmac into the outside zone. Starts to light up the tyres, and across the line goes Atkinson.
And if anybody knows that track, Owen does.
Yeah.
Literally lives just around the corner. It's his regular venue, hence the reason why he's sponsored by Teesside Karting. So, yeah, so a good run there from Owen, and we'll see if the judges agree. And lip reading Rich. 80 points from Peden. 84 from Rich. And a 79 from James, so he's up. And that puts him in first place qualifying position with an 81-point run. So Owen Atkinson showing that local knowledge. It gives him that little bit of an advantage. I mean, we saw just how close he was dicing with death on the edge of that circuit. In the meantime, your Pro Championship leader.
Yep, Luke Barker, Pro Championship points leader at the moment, screaming through the gears, absolutely fires in. He's gone way wide. Can he hold on to it? Certainly can, as Barker uses all the grip in that 2JZ powered GT86. Down he comes. And this young man has a target on his back this weekend. I know a lot of drivers have turned up this weekend to try and take down Barker, try and stop him winning the championship tonight before we head to Silverstone. But wow, what a run from Luke Barker.
Wow.
Teesside, come on, make some noise.
Wow. That's just set the benchmark.
That's set the bar. That's set the bar. Definitely set the bar. That's an incredible
Wonderful
run there.
run.
Wow, and the first 90 points, a drop in from Peden.
So we can almost guarantee that puts him top of the table with a 90 from Rich and a 92 from James. So a 90.7 score on the board for our championship leader. And mathematically, Luke could take the title today.
He certainly could take the title today. That is if he's not stopped in top 24 or top 16 action. Let's move things along. Ryan Hughes now sits on the line, Garage 500, represented on the door. A lot of issues with his car in practice, not many practice runs. When he did get it working, he came out and he was an angry man. What can Ryan Hughes do? As you can hear him absolutely flat to the floorboards on the throttle as he lights up the tyres. Ryan Hughes destroying tyres, looking angry as he comes down into outside zone 3, back on throttle nice and early. Ryan Hughes is hungry for some success. As we said, problems with his car, and Ryan Hughes wants some redemption. Big clutch kick, just shallows up the angle, but nicely done from Ryan Hughes.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might be marked down a little bit for that final clip 6. Car was very, very straight when he shifted up the gears. But obviously the judges are watching this over from the tower rather than on the screen, from the best seat in the house up here in the tower. So Peden scores him a 77, Rich a 76, and James a 76 as well. So that's a 76.3.
Yeah, 76.3 for Ryan Hughes, we go back to the start line, it will be Marcus Clare. Now, Marcus Clare has been driving like a man possessed today. Every single run has been on point, and Rich Newton said earlier on today in practice, if he drives like that in qualifying, he will be way up there, and he could threaten the top 24 competition. Been door on door with some of the biggest names. Nicely done on initiation. Look at Ryan Hughes, not scared to put that Nissan Skyline R32 to the edge of the circuit. Nice line because he comes down into outside zone 3, very wide on the outside edge of the track of the circuit. As Marcus Clare hammers down once again. Oh, and a little wobble on a misshift there as Ryan Hughes just about holds it together. That was going to be a strong run.
So yeah, Marcus. So Marcus in the R32. Just that last, I saw James Grimsey put his head on his hands. It looked like he just misshift or just didn't have the wheels spinning enough. The tyres, obviously these tyres when they get to the final section of the track are so sticky and so hot. It looked like it just gripped up when he went from second to third. So an 81 from Peden.
God, that could have been an easily 90-point run if it wasn't for that big wobble.
80 from James and an 80 from Rich. So all the judges agreeing that he was penalised there. They were just saying he would have been number one if he hadn't messed up that final clip.
Yeah, so an 80.3 puts him in third place at the moment. And no Matt Roberts not making it to the line. So unfortunately, Matt Roberts not make it to the line.
So that will be a 0-point run for Mr. Roberts.
Yeah, so we will zero him out because he didn't make it to the line in qualifying order. And we can see down on the grid it is Danny Wyman. So Danny Wyman sits on the line, patiently waiting his run down the gauntlet.
And he was itching to get out yesterday. During practice, like, come on, Mark, let me go. Please, let me go and have some practice. I said, no, wait, well, tomorrow, save your tyres. Right, let's see what Danny Wyman can do. The last time we saw Danny here in competition was in Drift Cup a few years ago with an epic battle against Dave Bastin. But so Danny knows this track very, very well. And a wonderful line, a little bit shy on Clippy Point 2. Look how deep he is. He's so deep, he's clipped his bumper off on the tyre wall, and he comes through into Clipping Point 5, out to that touch and go, just gets his wheels in that touch and go, straightens the car up a bit, gets it sideways over Clipping Point 6. Beautiful run, beautiful.
Yeah, nicely done there from Danny
I am
Wyman.
going to look across to the judges because the judges were told that the clipping points are there for a visual reference as opposed to clipping points to hit, if that makes sense.
Yes. Well, they've still scored him, so it wasn't wheels off track, so he'll be happy with that.
And it's a good score as well. Peden with an 86. Obviously, Peden very impressed with Danny Wyman. James with an 80 and Rich with an 82. So that drops him in with an 82.7 and puts him second place in the current position in the standings for qualifying here at round 4 of the Pro Class of the UK Drift Championship 2021.
So there we go. Jamie Stanton now sits on the line in the Fibre Factory E36 BMW. Thumbs up. Happy to go. Look at this. Jamie Stanton off the line. And another man that's been absolutely flying in practice so far today. Door on door. Nice initiation. Fires it in wide. Look at that, right to the edge of the circuit. And Stanton using every inch of tarmac available here at Teesside Autodrome. Down into 3 comes. Not as wide, but he's very wide on the outside zone. Look at this from Stanton. No messing around. He knows where all the grip is, and he knows he can push that car to the absolute limit. That was incredible. I can hear Peden Nielsen in the background.
Yes.
Everyone has their hands in the air. Give him a round of applause, Teesside. Wow, that was incredible from Jamie Stanton.
I heard he sent a message to the judges group this morning asking what he should do to improve, and I just turned around and said nothing. Look at that, a 93 from Peden. This is going to put him in the number 1 qualifying spot at this moment in time. 93 from Peden.
Wow, big scores dropping in. I can hear big scores across the tower. 93 from Peden, what a Rich and James score him. A 93 from James and Rich the same. It's going to be a 93 for Jamie Stanton. He takes provisional first place in qualifying at the moment. Incredible driving from Jamie Stanton. Wow, we've got some serious contenders up against. Luke Barker coming this weekend feeling super confident now. He may be looking a little bit on the ropes. Arunas Namontas now sits on the line. It's incredible BMW E46. And this young man has been putting in lap after lap, looking stronger and stronger every single run.
Yeah, Arunas third in the championship with everything to play for this weekend. He could take second. He's out of the championship title race, but he could takes second place away from Bagsy, who currently sits in second. But Arunas, again, look at the line and the amount of speed he's carrying through 3. Exactly what the judges are wanting to see. And he gets it through 5, out to the touch and go, runs that one wheel through, gives that clutch a kick and over the line.
Wow.
Arunas, wow. Arunas and Montes, again, throwing down that gauntlet. Luke Barker will be thinking, what?
Where are these guys? Where have these guys come from? What are they up to? It looks like a lot of people have saved it for this round, you know, waiting to see what Barker's been doing. Another big score dropping in, a 90 from Peden. As Arunas Namontes strengthens his championship run at the moment, and it's going to be a 90 for Arunas Namontes.
So that puts him in 3rd place at this moment in time. Obviously, we've got the remaining drivers to go, plus these guys get to do it all over again on their 2nd qualifying run. And of course, this is just so that they can get into the battles this afternoon, into that all-important top 24, and we will see who out of the 32 drivers in the Pro Championship will then head down to Silverstone for the final round at the beginning of October. In the meantime, Chris Parnham, and sounded like Chris had an issue off the line there. Something seriously wrong off the start line. Very, very hesitant after he initiated off the line, and he's making up time now though, and deep through into 3, round towards the clipping zone on the outside, and then into 5. No problems there, out to the touch and go, just skirts the touch and go, and then just keeps 3 wheels on track over the final, over the finish line. But yeah, that was a strange.
Yeah, sounded like the
set-off,
car
yeah.
had a very strange limiter as he was on South Bank, absolutely pinned. It was just sounded like the car didn't want to rev, didn't sound too clean. So Chris Parnham's scores drops in, a 72 for Peden.
It's strange to me. I'm looking at 70s thinking that's a low score.
Yeah, we've been gifted with some really big scores so far already. So we wait for the average to drop in for Chris Parnham. It will be a 71.3 for Chris Parnham. So not sure if that's enough. We've got a lot of big scores already. We go back to the start line to Johan.
Yeah, Johan runs the PH Drift School here at Teesside Autodrome. So if you like what you're seeing out here today and you fancy having a go yourself, you need to speak to Yogi at PH Drift. Check him out on Facebook, and he's borrowed Michael Bennett's car that we saw yesterday. Now this is just a 2.8 BMW, but Yogi being an instructor at this venue, look at the line around the outside. The judges have said that doesn't matter if they're not ridiculously fast, if they're running the perfect line. And look at Yogi, this is a 2.8 BMW with very few modifications. Obviously all the safety requirements fitted to this car. Just misses that touch and go and out to the final clip, and you can hear him absolutely wringing the neck of that BMW, and a very happy Yogi. So yeah, just like I say, if you fancy having a go, Yogi is a fantastic instructor. Take you around the West Track. He's got a few BMWs. So if you do fancy having a go, speak to Yogi. And you might be able to meet him later on, because we'll let you know what's going to happen before we start the finals. And a 79 from Peden, an 81 from Rich, and James with an 82. So that drops him into 8th place in qualifying so far in a 320 BMW. Wow.
I mean, yeah, incredible. A very talented driver, an 8.7 average score there for Johan. We go back to the start line. Christian Rice now in the Firefly Speed Shop Nissan 350Z. And Christian Rice been having some fun out there today so far in practice. And getting to grips with the car. It's very wide though, drops a wheel on the edge of the track on initiation, kicks up some dust. Judge will be looking at that's upset his line massively. You can see him mid-track now. You have to work to get out to 3. Manages to make it happen. As Christian Rice looks for outside zone 4 on the transition, gets it dialed, looks for the touch and go. He's going to sacrifice that as he looks for final clipping point, and across the line goes Christian Rice.
Yeah, the regular, who's very, very close to Three Sisters, where we visited earlier in the year, lives just around the corner. So regular at Three Sisters from Firefly's Speed Shop. His partner was out last week at BDC at
Three Sisters.
Three Sisters. Was it Three Sisters?
So there we go, a 69.7.
69.7.
A 69.7 for Christian Rice.
Right now, I'm hoping it's going to be Tom Van Beek on the line. However, he did come to the signing on room earlier with a part of his car that he needed to replace. So I'm looking up onto the start line to see if that is going to be Tom van Beek. I think it was a map sensor or a lambda sensor that he required for his MX-5. I just hope and pray that that is Tom on the line. Can't quite see. It is. He must have got that part then. So somebody in the drivers group must have had a part that he required. So Tom van Beek, again, we saw Harry Archer in the blue MX-5. Don't discount. This young man last weekend at the BDC was phenomenal. I believe he got the Judges Award.
Yes.
A Judges Award for being really, really impressive. And I think this car's running about 450 brake horse in a car that weighs, well, as much as a crisp packet, basically. And you can see there, putting that MX-5 to use, round to 2, deep to 3. He's going to run that wide line through that clipping zone there. Just touched it on the entry. Just a little wobble there going through to 5. And that car doesn't quite sound right.
No, it doesn't sound right at
over
all.
the line. So, yeah, it just... Normally that car just sings.
Yeah, it sounds crisp, sounds really nice and responsive, just doesn't sound right today. And heard it earlier on in practice, sounded like it was breaking up a little bit. It's been doing a lot of work this year, a lot of championships been driven in, so what does Tom van Beek score? Drops a score now. Is that enough? Is Tom van Beek's a clever guy? Is he going to just put a nice safe score on the board, go back to the paddock and then work on the car, try and get the car dialed, ready for top 24 if he makes it through, or is he going to risk a second qualifying run?
Well, he's currently in 11th place in the standings with a 76.3. So, yeah, well, let's see. We've still got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh, wow. So Luke Barker just messaged me saying he's having fuel pressure issues of all the days when he knows that today could be the day he could take the championship. Today's the day the car starts.
Stuart Egdal always puts a smile on everybody's face. Look at him dancing. Look, if you're watching at home, you can see this. If you're on the banking, he's literally doing a moonwalk at the steering wheel because he absolutely loves drifting. Right, Stuart Egdal from Team Red Mist in the red and black card, little bit shy on the angle, a bit of a tentative initiation, but now he's nailed. He's out to clipping point 3, deep in through 3. He's had some fantastic results of late, and it's just boosted his confidence massively. And he's showing that he's just as good as anybody else through that clipping zone. Keeps all of the car on track and sideways over the finish line. So Stuart Egdal, again, another driver that's going to get a score on the board.
Yeah, nice run there from Stu Egdal, and yeah, I think he was doing the Macarena, was he?
It was,
I think that was it. Yeah, I think
hands
that's
to
what he was
elbows
doing.
and all that kind of stuff.
I think that's what he was doing.
Twiddling thumbs.
Not that I know
fingers.
any of those dad dances.
Well, you are a dad, so you must do. I do.
You definitely do.
I
I've seen you cut some of those shapes before. There we go. So we wait for the score, the aaverage score to drop in for Stu Egdal.
74 from Peden, 72 from Rich, and a 74 from James. So that's going to be 73.3. 73.3.
Yep, so there we go, 73.3. Oliver Baker now making his way to the line. Another young superstar stepping up to the mark. 2JZ underneath the bonnet of this E36 BMW, I do believe.
Is it? I thought it was a V8.
No, it's definitely a turbo.
Okay.
I don't think it's a V8. I'm pretty sure it's 2JZ underneath the bonnet.
No,
I will be corrected by somebody online.
He's spotted.
Definitely.
Will send me a message. Right.
There we go, nice initiation, flick across the track from Oliver Baker. Hammers down, looks for outside zone 2. Oh, just comes off throttle a little bit too much there. You can see the wheel speed slowed down, that sacrificed that line. Nevertheless, Baker back into it once again. Fulfills all of that outside zone as he transitions for outside zone clipping point 4. Back on throttle, gets to the touch and go. Final clipping point right on the edge of the circuit. Goes Baker and across the line. Tidy job from the young man.
Yep. Ollie, local to Teesside. Lives in York, but I believe the car is garaged up here in the northeast. So Peden with an 80, Peden with an 81, Rich with an 80, and James scores it an 80. So that puts Ollie in 6th place on the grid so far. So Ollie Baker, he'll be happy with that. And I suspect that we are going to get you, boys and girls, involved with this later on. Obviously, me and Ian are saving our voices for the battles later on because they are going to be something else, and we will get you. We're hoping to be able to introduce you to some of the drivers. In the meantime, then, Steve Knott promoted to the Pro class after 2 decent results in the Pro 2 class, and Steve Knott down into that first corner. Wide, 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 and this thing is a smoke machine. Look at the smoke pouring from the back end of this 2JZ powered S15 and round through the clipping zone. And it's we're actually watching it from the monitors here, and it's still smoking. Thankfully, the judges have got a better view than we have. But no, good, solid run from Steve there. Still a little bit shy here and there, a little bit wobbly. So I'm sure Steve can do a better run in his second one. But again, it's all about getting a banker in on this first run, Ian, and then pushing the limits on second.
Exactly that, yeah. And Steve Knott took that car into the gravel earlier on in practice, so potentially not 110% on the alignment. Steve Knott did manage to put in a decent run, though, a banker, a few wobbles here and there, a few outside zones just dropped, and a 70.3 will be the average score for Steve Knott. JJ Stevens now sits on the line. This incredible precision garage Nissan Skyline R34. This car is so clean. It's just criminal to drift it around the track, but nevertheless, JJ Stevens puts it to the limit. Had an incredible battle with Bagsy at round 3. JJ Stevens was over the moon with that car working now 110%. Tentative initiation from Stevens though as he puts foot to floor, looks for outside zone 2. Nice line as he comes down the bank in to outside zone 3, puts the back bumper, well, the back end of that Skyline to clipping point 3. Shallow transition there, didn't use all of the track as JJ Stevens sacrifices that touch and go. Gets the job done across the line. It will be a score on the board for JJ Stevens.
So apparently the reason we didn't see Matt Roberts is he needs a steering pump for a JZ. So if anybody in the banking from the drivers group has a power steering pump for a JZ, that's why Matt Roberts, unfortunately,
hasn't made it out onto track.
Onto track. But in the meantime, back to JJ scores.
Yeah, JJ Stevens scores drop in. Peden, Rich and James drop him in a 70, 71 and a 71 again. And it will be a 70.7 there for JJ Stevens on his average. We go back to the start line to someone that we aptly named Drift Smurf from many years ago. It is, of course, Matthew Holder, who now officially goes under the name of Drift Smurf. And Matt Holder, 1UZ powered E36 BMW Compact now comes off the line. Struggling with a little bit of pace in the car this morning. Opting to chase down quite a lot of the pro drivers instead of going for some practice ones on the qualifying, so he felt confident. And you see way down the bank though, needed to be a lot higher up for outside zone 2. Now starts to get himself on that qualifying line, looks for outside zone 3. Foot down, uses all the power from that naturally aspirated V8 underneath the bonnet. Transitions back, looks for the touch and go, nice line in that touch and go. Final clipping zone picked up, and Matthew Holder gets the job done.
Yeah, he was a little bit nervous when I spoke to him this morning. He was saying he didn't have all that power that he needed to keep up with these big boys. But I said, listen, just go out there, enjoy it. I don't think he's never driven this layout.
Oh, really?
Never driven this layout. It's been at other championships where it's been run other
backwards,
ways.
Yeah, and different ways, yeah.
But this, so I said to him, you've got to think you're going to crash in the first corner, and that's how fast you've got to go, and you won't crash. And he was like, really? I said, yes, you've got to go into that first corner, and you think you are going to fall off track. And once you nail it, and you load up that rear passenger side wheel, bish, bash, bosh, away you go.
Back on throttle, and away you go. So there we go. We zeroed out Arik, unfortunately not making it to the line. Stefan Stefanov now sits on the line. Narrowly missed out on a podium at round 3. Got beaten to the third step on the podium by Bagsy. Stefan Stefanov back for some redemption this weekend in the Dream Car giveaways.
Wow.
S13. Wow, look at the initiation from Stefanov. Judges, jaws dropped to the edge of the tower there as Stefanov comes firing down. Whoa, backwards for outside zone 3. On the foot brake goes Stefanov. He manages somehow to collect the outside zone. Transitions back. Stefanov, a man possessed. He's going to miss the touch and go, but he does pick up that final clipping point 5 and across the line. Teesside makes some noise for Stefan Stefanov.
I would say put your hands up in the air, but we can't see you.
We couldn't see, we wouldn't be able to see you. Wow, what a run from Stefan Stefanov. A few little bits that needed tidying up, but that has some potential.
I don't think it's going to be enough, but I spoke to him this morning. I said, have you got enough tyres? He said, I've borrowed some. So I said, well, why are you going to give them back?
when they're finished,
when
they've got no tread on them, he's going to give them back. So scores dropping in, not as high as what we would assume. But yeah, as impressive as it was, there was a few outside zones dropped, and judges wouldn't have liked some of the moves he made. A 76 average for Stefanov. So definitely room for improvement there as we go back to the line to Hayden Cruikshank.
Yeah, Hayden, unfortunately, not in his regular car. Unfortunately, that has, I'm going to say, the engine's expired.
Expired.
Yeah, I mean, his other car runs 1,000 brake horsepower when it's in full tune. So he's back in his Cresta with his wonderful livery from Talladega Nights. Always makes me smile. But Aiden's always got a smile on his face. We saw this car around at round 1 with Martin Wonnacott behind the wheel, but it's been put back together and repaired after that. And Hayden Cruikshank can drive just about anything. A regular over at Ibisu in Japan. He has a car out there as well, and absolutely lives for drifting. And Hayden Cruikshank with a score on the board.
Yeah, nice run there from Hayden Cruikshank. As always, textbook like we like to see from that young man. And Hayden Cruikshank, as you say, unfortunately not in that incredible 1100 horsepower JZX. So a 71 from Peden. Scores start to drop in for Hayden Cruikshank.
73 from James. So that's going to be a 72-point run for Hayden. What we'll do is we'll check the scoring system before we start these second runs and see exactly what the cut-off point is regarding points. So when we finish this first round, we'll see what the 24th driver has scored, and then we will know who needs to score what. Right, we have Justinus Norcus off the line in this BMW. Ian, what's under the bonnet of this one, do you know?
Yeah, I do believe it is a Toyota 1UZ Turbo underneath the bonnet of Justinus Norcus E36. Very nice. Look at that on throttle very early as he looks for the outside zone, flying around the circuit. Norcus been flying in practice. Judge has been loving every single run he does. He looks out the window for the touch and go, looks for that final clipping point, just drops the wheel on the edge of the circuit, and Norcus getting it done. Very nicely done.
Very nice indeed. And like I say, all these drivers, not only do they want to make the finals today, they also want the opportunity to go to Silverstone in October. Obviously, this event all made possible with the thank of our sponsors, ASNU, Injectors, Driven Racing Oils, Kobo Seats, Funk Motorsport, Direnza, Garage D and Hell Performance, and we cannot forget Fastar. As we look back across to the judges and we get the scores in for Justinus. And a 79 from Richard. A 76 from Peden. And an 80 from James. Currently sat in 10th position then with that score of 78.3. So Justinus well up in the bracket. But again, we've got to see all these drivers once again. And we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drivers, including Bagsy, second in the championship, and Matthew Denham, fresh from a fantastic result, winning last weekend at Drift Pro.
So there we go. Danny Herold now off the line in the NHP Motorsport E36 BMW. Danny Herold been on some flying runs so far today in practice. Lights up the tyres, down the hill he comes in to outside zone 3. Shallows up the angle massively as he positions the back end of that BMW into the outside zone. Nice transition back into the second hairpin for Danny Herold. Onto the touch and go right to the edge of the circuit. Big clutch kick from Danny Herold as he gets it across the line. Job done.
Yeah, and I've got to give a shout out to his better half. It's her birthday today. And he was hoping he was going to be driving yesterday. And when he said it's today, he said, well, I'm going to be in so much trouble. in a way.
In a way.
In a way. So happy birthday. If you do want any shout outs, by the way, if you drop them on, drop a message on our Instagram on @UKDC. And if you take a photograph, we may share them, or if you send us a message, we will give you a shout out. That's if you're on the banking.
So a 68.3 for Danny Herold on his qualifying run. And Jay Wilding now comes off the line, the M&M Engineering Nissan 200SX S14. And Jay Wilding lost a few body panels in practice. Nice initiation, a big flick. Gets it done, lights up the foot brake as he pushes the back end of that car into outside zone 2. Nice line down into 3, and that car sounds like it's cutting out as he makes that transition. A few times that's happened today in practice. Nevertheless, gets back into it again. And Jay Wilding stays in it, gets the job done.
Yeah,
Couple of mistakes.
The only thing he was complaining about this morning after I spoke to him was the fact that his car keeps filling up with smoke and he can't see where the hell he's going. So I said, well, you better get some silicone out and some gaffer tape and start plugging some holes. Yeah. So that was his only issue. So yeah, a low score then. Some low scores, 58 from Peden, 53 from Rich and 57 from James.
Yeah, it'll be that big lift off throttle in that first hairpin. Judges won't have liked that. They would have seen him full throttle commitment round there. 56 average for Wilding. So he definitely needs to pull up his socks there. Bagsy now pulls to the line in the Monster Energy PS13 supercharged LSX underneath the bonnet. Now Bagsy having problems this morning with the alternator and the battery, car not charging, then having issues with throttle position, saying the car cuts throttle. Wow, Bagsy goes for a huge initiation, throws it at 90 degrees to outside zone 1, stays on throttle, picks up outside zone 2, comes down the hill for 3. Bagsy looking to take qualifying this weekend. He knows if he takes qualifying and wins the event, he could potentially take down Luke Barker. Look at this from Bagsy's absolutely pinpoint perfect. Teesside raised the roof for Bagsy. Wow, that was an incredible run.
Bagsy.
I just want to ask what his spotter's been feeding him this morning for breakfast, because that was on form for Bagsy. After practice runs, it was not looking that good, and I wondered. So an 88 from Peden, not liking it as much. It was a fan favourite. It was a golden buzzer.
A 90 from Rich though, and a 90 from James. That puts Steve into 4th position.
So an 89.3. So not as impressive for the judges. Also, the entry. So they're saying the entry wasn't what they were into.
Entry was flaky.
Flaky. Well, look, let's go back to the start line to a man who could potentially topple the qualifying standings at the moment. It is, of course, Matt Denham in the Jap Speed Nissan 200X X13. This young man made his debut back in competition at round 3.
With this car.
With this car, unfortunately broke a drive shaft, didn't get out, and now on form, that car working 110%, built by Clark Customs with a DY Engines 2JZ underneath the bonnet. Look at this from Denham on a flyer. I haven't seen him in practice out for a while, but he doesn't look like he needs it as he transitions in to that second hairpin, picks up that outer zone, foot flat to the floor as Denham brings it across the line.
Yep, kept all 4 wheels on the track as well through that final clipping point. But again, a safe run for Mr. Denham. Get him in, hopefully get him into that top 24 and get some points on the board, not only in the championship, but gives him that opportunity to go to Silverstone at the beginning of October. So Peden with an 87, James with a 90, and Rich with an 89. So, and that puts him 5th in qualification at this moment in time.
So an 88.7 for Matt Denham, and we move it to the last driver with the first runs to go, and it is, of course, the full-time rock star, the part-time drifter, Carl Farrar, sits on the line of the G2E Motorsport Toyota Chaser. This car, absolutely incredible.
I was sat near the cafe this morning, and he pulled up outside, and there was a guy stood next to me. He said, "Can you hear a stereo?" I said, "Yes, it's Carl."
Yeah, listening to AC/DC as he makes his way around the circuit. No doubt, Carl Farrar fires through outside zone 2. Look at this, nice line. Carl Farrar been taking part in the Drift Pro Championship. I do believe he's at BDC the other weekend as well, as Farrar puts foot to floor, lights up the tyres. Look at that nice line in the outside zone, transitions back. Farrar on a flyer at the moment, sacrifices the touch and go, lights up the tyres on the back of that Chaser, and across the line goes Carl Farrar.
And I'll tell you what I'm impressed with. At this moment in time, we not have had a single 0-point run from anybody that's been around this circuit. The only zeros, all right, touch wood.
Touch wood.
Touch wood, it'll stay the same for the second half. But no, every single driver has scored points apart from those that haven't made it to the grid, unfortunately, which is Eric and Matt Roberts.
Yeah.
So no, shows the standard of the UKDC Pro Class. Right, I'm going to look across to Stuart as well and see.
Well, we're currently waiting for Carl Farrar's score to drop in first before we can refresh the system and get the graphic up to date. A 73 from Peden, not liking it as much as what we did as commentators. And Carl Farrar, look how cool he looks there. Flat cap on, shades on.
Yeah, that's for those that are watching at home.
So a 73.7 for Carl Farrar. So there we go. All the scores in, all the first runs done. So we're going to bring a graphic up on the screen, show you how the current standings sit as Finn Wells awaits his second qualifying run in the Outlaw Engineering
just while we
350Z.
Stuart, what's the drive? It's what, sorry?
So a 7, here we go. We can see it right now on your screen. JJ Stevens sits on the drop zone with a 70.7. Parnham's up there. Hayden Cruikshank way down the order in 21st place. Aaron Grantham 18th place with a 75. Wanacott 14th with a 77. Callum Payne in 9th place with an 80.3. So he's up there in that top 16. As you can see, a few double 9s and double 8s there. So we're going to move it along. Back to the start line we go for the second runs of qualifying. It is going to be the young man, Finn Wells. And Finn Wells absolutely smashed his GCSE results the other week. So heads off to college. And this young man, an incredible up-and-coming star of UK drifting. Look at this nice initiation. Fires it right to the edge of the circuit. Looking tired. He is Finn Wells. Holds the throttle as far down as it will go. Onto the handbrake. He goes to extend it out to the outer zone. Looking good is Finn Wells. Picks up outside zone.
Yep, and he's got to improve on his first score, though, by 0.4 of a point to be able to be in the grid for top 24. So is that going to be enough? He was currently sat on a 70.3, and he needs above a 70.7 to knock JJ Stevens on that drop zone in 24th place.
So we will find out where Finn Wells sits.
I think they were all 70s, so 70 points for Peden. 70 points from Rich. And 70. So, judges not seeing that one.
No, so unfortunately, Finn Wells not making the cut for top 24, and it's such a shame. But that's what happens when you get so many good drivers into the show. 25th. Oh, wow, we're told he's 25th. So up next it is Brad Wall, or Barry, as he likes to be called.
Yeah. In the meantime, I've been asked I'm getting messages. Shout out to Stiggy. Hey, Steve, thank you for watching. Hope you're enjoying the show. In the meantime, then, Barry Wall, hesitant on that initiation. I've been winding him up all weekend about that because the judges don't like to see that hesitation on that initiation. They want to see drivers absolutely flat out to initiation, and Bradley Wall shuts it down going into that first corner. I've just looked across at the judges and I saw Rich mouth the word zero.
Yeah, so that was a massive mistake there. It would have been a misshift for Brad Wall. So there we go, zeroed out. First driver to zero out. He is safe at the moment with a 71.7 though.
I spoke too soon, didn't I?
You did. You. So he's 22nd at the moment. 22nd at the moment in the standing. So that could change as we move through. Aaron Grantham now on the line with a 75 in his first qualifying run.
And a quick shout out to Titch, who sent us a message on Insta. Shout out to the whole of the Garage 500 crew, not just the drivers, but the guys behind the scene as well. So thank you for that, Titch. Right, as Aaron Grantham then leads the line out here, look at the initiation. Wow. This young man yesterday was absolutely mind-blowing. Didn't quite get the rub of the green in the battles, but he's out here today with the pro guys on his lovely white line through 3, down to that clipping zone. And out to 5, he's going to be looking for that. Touch and go, just drops the wheels on the dirt and over the line. And Aaron Grantham with a 75 point on his first run, so he's currently safe in that top 24. But, you know, Tom Fruin-Clark has got to, he can go better. Ryan Hughes, we know he could do slightly better. Chris Parnham, Christian Rice, there are still plenty of drivers that could potentially knock him out. Of Danny Herold, another driver that we know has got the capabilities to go up on the points score, and he doesn't improve his score with a 71.7 for Aaron Grantham, so he's still in the 24 with that 75 point run on his first run. So Tom Fruin-Clark has got to pull it out of the bag here, Ian.
Yeah, he certainly has, Mark. He needs to do everything he can, but at the moment I'm not sure how he can even see to leave the start line. So much smoke inside that E36 BMW Compact from where he's been warming up his tyres. Down there in the tyre warming area, Fruin-Clark threw the gears down, looks for a safer initiation this time, tries to get pinpoint perfect. He's down way low on the bank though, needs to push the back end up to get into outside zone 2. He's bleeding points now as he makes his way round that first hairpin. Manages to get the car wide out to the outside zone, picks up 4, looks for the touch and go as Fruin-Clark just can't get a wheel in it, holds on to it, a little wobble, and across the line. I'm not sure if that's enough.
No, I mean, what did he have? He had a 55.3 on his first. But will that take him into the? Well, he needs to score a 70.
Yeah, and he's not going to do it, Mark, a 66
right,
from
66 from Peden. No. 57 from Rich. And James gives him a 60, so an average of 61 points. So no, unfortunately for Tom, that won't be enough to see him into the top 24. However, he's had a fantastic weekend, getting into that top 8 yesterday. Scores on the board in the Pro 2 Championship and joined us here in the Pro class today. So on the line now, Rob Black.
It was Paul Smith's car, not anymore. He's got a GT86 now. Rob Black fires in wide. Look at this, goes right to the edge of the circuit. Nicely done from Rob Black in the Jap Speed S15. Big speed carried as he goes down. He knows what everyone else has been doing. He's been watching the live stream. Look at the line from Rob Black as he picks up the outer zone. Looks for 4. Nice transition. Gets back into it. Touch and go collected. One more clipping point to go. And across the line goes Rob Black. Wow.
Yeah, good run. I mean, he had a 78 and was currently in 13th place, I think Stuart said, so safely in the top 24 at this moment in time. So we could see him out. And I just saw, right, we're in the 80s by the sound of it. 83 from Peden. Rich with an 81. And James with an 82, so that will be an 82 point. And that puts Rob into 7th place. So currently in that top 8.
Top 8, yeah.
Will get a bye into the top 16 automatically.
Yep, so if you're in that top 8, you automatically get by through to the top 16. So everyone working hard to get into there. We move it back to the line. Harry Archer, 65.7. Not sure if he's got enough in it to get himself through in this run. Is this car enough to qualify in top 24? Needs to be full commitment. I know he always is. But Harry Archer's going for another safe run here. Needs to keep it nice and high on the bank and try and let that car stay. And he just can't do it. You can see it just grips up down into outside zone 3 and he sacrifices that line. Gets himself back on the qualifying line as he transitions into 4. As Harry Archer picks up the touch and go, wobbles out to the final clipping point across the line. Nevertheless, what a weekend for Harry Archer.
Yeah, I think the issue this morning is that obviously these pro guys, a lot of them running really, really soft and sticky rubber. We said it before just on the introduction that when you're walking on the track, your trainers are sticking to the floor. And I think when you compare from yesterday when all the guys are not running semi-slicks and the rubber, it's not rubbering us up, whereas today, I think with a car like that, it's probably balking the car, it's bogging it down and not allowing it to perform like it should do.
So a 64.3, that means that Harry Archer hasn't done enough to get himself in competition, but nevertheless he would have had a fun weekend. However, this young man is in the show so far. Callum Payne, the 2021 UKDC Pro 2 champion, is sitting in 11th place with an 80.3. Can he improve? Yesterday took qualifying by 0.7 away from Rob Black. So Callum Payne going nice and high on the bank, looking down as he shallows up the angle, fires it back on again through outside zone 3 on the throttle, nice and early, very wide line from Callum Payne. Nice transition back for outside zone 4 as he looks for the touch and go. Callum Payne stares down the gauntlet and across the line. Tidy run, again,
yeah,
consistent.
Good run. Yeah, and if you're unsure of how the judges are marking these guys down, obviously they all have 100 points. If they're not really, really deep and really, really on the edge of the track, they might be in the clipping points, but in the perfect line for the judges is deep into the clipping points, all the way through it, right on the edge of the track. That's what the judges are looking for. So if you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute, he hit the clipping point or he hit the clipping box, but unless they're absolutely on the ragged edge, I know Peter mentioned it in the briefing this morning, that it's risk or reward. You take that risk, you're going to get rewarded. And Callum drops in with an 81-point run and puts him 8th place. So Callum,
wow, on the edge, on the edge. Can he hold on to it? We're going to find out. Move it back to the start line. Martin Wanacott, well, he won't be happy with that first qualifying run, a 77. He'll want to improve, smashes the car into gear, comes through the chicane. And Wanacott down through the gears, looking to improve, get himself up into that great 8. Nice initiation, little snap to angle as Wanacott finds the edge of the circuit. All drops down though for outside zone 2, just catches a wheel and it wobbles across the circuit for 3. Martin Wanacott not looking too comfortable today. Back in his usual chassis, the Betty Surf Shop Toyota Chaser. Collects the touch and go. And Wanacott, you can see, dials on the angle. Nice line.
Yeah, just a bit hesitant on initiation for me. And that line from 2 to 3, I personally think he's a little bit shy, but I'm just commentating on what I'm seeing and just listening to the judges this morning in the briefing. But an 81 from Peden, an 83 from James. See, it shows what I know.
It will be an improvement. Yeah, he will jump up the order. Is it enough?
82 puts him into 14th place.
So he has to battle it out.
Oh, sorry, up to 8th.
Sorry, drops him into 8th, and that pushes out Callum Payne. So Callum Payne going to have to battle later on this afternoon to get into that top 16. We go back to the start line. Matt Smith now with a 70, so we know he will be just outside of the top 24.
So he has to improve on this run. So Matt Smith then comes down there. I said to him earlier, he needs to initiate that a little bit earlier and a little bit faster. And he's going to be shy of 2. That initiation, not late enough, not fast enough. He's out to 3, but again, if you look, he's shy on that angle. He's out into the zone. This bit, realistically, is fairly straightforward for the drivers of this standard. Out to the touch and go, and then out to 6. It's all down, as I said earlier, it's all down to that initiation for clip 1. If you get that right and you carry enough speed, it takes you to 2, carries you to 3. But I suspect that might not be enough for Matt, and that might be the end of his day today, unfortunately, but we'll see. The judges are the ones with the scores, and Rich scoring him with a 64, so yeah, he's been penalised for that initiation and that run around South Bank Corner here at Teesside Autodrome. And a 67 from Peden and a 66 from James, which is an average of 65.7. So yeah, his 70-point run on his first attempt at qualifying isn't going to see him through by 0.7 at this moment in time. So, but of course, these guys are here to put on a show for you and put on some entertainment. So a big congratulations to everybody that's made it. Right, Owen Atkinson currently sits in 10th place.
Yeah, 10th place for Owen Atkinson, the Teesside karting sponsored driver. Look at this, right to the edge of the circuit. And as we said before, if anyone knows the outer limits and every inch of tarmac of this track, it will be Owen Atkinson. It's down to Party in the outside zones right now as Atkinson looks to transition for outside zone 4, puts the throttle back down to the floor again, looks for the touch and go, tidally collected from Owen Atkinson as he collects the final clipping point and across the line. Atkinson, nice job, 81 on his first qualifying run, 10th place at the moment. Is that an improvement? I'm going to say that's pretty consistent. I'm going to say that's around the same kind of score.
Yeah, it's going to be around the same sort of score, I would say. Yeah, I can see an 84 being mouthed. So an 81 from Peden, 84 from James, and he was James has just mouthed finally a flick entry. I mean, the entries, the drivers in the briefing this morning were told that they can enter that first corner however they want. However, they don't particularly want to see handbrake entries because they're boring, basically.
Exactly that. Well, look, let's go back to the line. A 90.7. We thought that was going to be enough to potentially hold on to qualifying for quite a while, and it wasn't. He was taken down. Fuel pressure issues, are they sorted? Luke Barker, your current points and championship leader. Big flick on initiation as he fires down into outside zone 2. Just catches wheel on the outside edge of it, though, deep into 3. Barker looking for some redemption now in qualifying. Can he get himself up into first place? Can he grab those all-important 3 points in qualifying? He's going for it, absolutely pinned to the floor as the throttle. I'm not sure. I don't think that line in South Bank was enough.
No, I've got to agree with you. I think we're shy off clip 2 for me. No, I think he's going to get penalised for that. Yeah, I don't think that's enough. I think his first run, his 90.7, will be the one. But another we say, I had a quick chat with him this morning. He said that it kept going into limbo this morning. So major issues, and an 84 from Peden, 85 from Rich, and an 85 from St James. So his first score will be the one that stands with a 90.7, and that run was points scored 84.7. So so down on his first one.
Sits in second place at the moment. Jamie Stanton still top in the order, if I'm correct. So there we go. Ryan Hughes up next. 76.3. He'll definitely want to improve. And Ryan Hughes, as we said earlier on, some aggression creeping through from this very quiet young man now, driving this incredible Garage 500 S14A. DY engines, SR20 underneath the bonnet, 600 horsepower being unleashed onto the Teesside tarmac right now as Ryan Hughes transitions into the second hairpin, goes to collect the touch and go, but fails to get there as he gets to the outside zone 5 late, and across the line goes Ryan Hughes.
Will it be an improvement? He had a 66.3 on his first run, so he needs to jump up.
A 76.3.
Oh, I've written that down wrongly. My bad. Sorry, a 76.3.
76.3. So he is going to be an improvement. Peden liking that one. 80, the aggression creeping through, an 80 from Rich, and an 81 from James. So it should be an 80.3 for Ryan Hughes, equals the score of his teammate Marcus Clare, who is up next. 11th place at the moment, so Ryan Hughes, work to be done this afternoon in top 24. We go back to the start line at 80.3. Marcus Clare in the Carriage 500. Nissan Skyline R32, and Ryan Hughes, Marcus Clare have been driving absolutely on point all morning. Can he find some form now in his second qualifying run? Nice little wash across the track as Clare gets it right to the outside limits of the circuit. Hammers down, nice line into outside zone 3, just about catches a wheel on the edge of the box. Looks to go deep into the outer zone as he transitions for 4. Nicely done into the second hairpin on off throttle. Sacrifice the touch and go. That's Marcus Clare across the line. And I'm not sure, I think that was, again, an equal score to his first run.
Yeah, very, very similar kind of run.
So there we go, scores are dropping in for Marcus Clare, and some stories unfolding here around 4 of the 2021 UK Drift Championship. 82 from Peden. Waiting for Rich and James's scores to drop in.
No, this is his second run, isn't it?
And there we go.
So that sits him in 8th place.
With an 82.3, does improve ever so slightly. Just to one-up his teammate Ryan Hughes for a little bit of banter. Here we go. Well, it isn't John Gordon on the line. It is going to be Matt Roberts. So Matt Roberts can use this car because he didn't make it to the line for his first qualifying run, even though he did one practice run in his own car. No. John Gordon's handed over the keys and he said, look, take my car, let's go for it.
I've no idea if
he's
Matt
never driven it.
I was going to say,
never
has he ever driven this car before?
Not that I know. It's going to be a tentative initiation. Fires it in, he's going to go wide, and it's going to be a 0.
Oh.
And unfortunately for Matt Roberts, he tried everything he could, and John Gordon gave him the opportunity to get back out there, but it will be a 0-0 for Matt Roberts.
Our Marshal Paul just pops up to South Bank Corner and puts that clipping point out. Again, we have to thank our sponsors for making this possible. Hell Performance for all your brake hoses. Garage D, if you've got a Japanese car, need any parts, hashtag in stock. Julian usually has those. Anything in stock that's Japanese car related. Dorenza Performance for your Euro cars. They do all sorts, plus the incredible intercoolers. MVT, multi-vane technology intercoolers. Funk Motorsport for all your cooling of hoses,
exhaust,
bulkheads,
everything, you name it.
Funk Motorsport. Kobo seats for your safety equipment, your seats and harnesses. Driven Racing Oils, obviously every car needs oil, and you need to contact Driven Racing Oils for all your fluids, and ASNU injectors for your fuel injectors. And we have to thank CTRL for our live stream, Matt and James, who are the guys that put on the show. And of course, we cannot forget Fastar, the media outlet for everything motorsport. Make sure you go follow them. In the meantime, then, Danny Wyman, like I say, the last time we saw him here in competition was a while ago, with some amazing battles with Dave Bastin, and he's going to be shy on clipping point 2 in that PS, that beautiful PS13, throws it deep into 3, but that's not what we need to see. That car not working as well as we know it can. I mean, I don't think this car's got as much power as many of the others on the grid, has it, Ian?
No, I don't think it has. I think it's around 450 horsepower, SR20 underneath the bonnet. And Danny Wyman, just going for a do-or-die run there, currently sitting in 6th place in qualifying, I do believe. So he is up there in the
but when you talk and you say it's only got 450.
450, yeah. I mean, you say that now in the Pro class when most guys are running plus 700 horsepower. So here we go. The score will be way down. A lot of mistakes creeping into that run, unfortunately, for Danny Wyman there.
Yeah, way down from his first run. So, yeah, just to let you know, boys and girls, what we are going to do before we run the finals, as Danny's score of 64.3, we are going to line up the 24 drivers out on the track. And we are going to invite you boys and girls from the banking to come down and meet the drivers and have a look at their vehicles on the track for a short period of time, just so that you can actually have a look at them. Obviously, we have the pits closed off for safety reasons, but that will give you the opportunity to come and meet your...
It will, certainly will do. And this driver right now is your current qualifying points leader. Big initiation from Stanton. Can he hold on to it? He certainly can. Wow, look at that from Jamie Stanton as he fires down his outside zone 3. He's going to go right to the edge of the circuit. Once again, holds on to it. Stanton out of nowhere comes to the UK Drift Championship and says, time to upset a few happy faces. Sacrifices the touch and go. But nevertheless, Teesside, give him a round of applause. Jamie Stanton throwing down.
Wow, fantastic. I mean, his partner yesterday, Sarah, had an absolutely incredible day. She won her first battle yesterday in the Pro 2 class. I reckon he's on a high from that as well.
Yeah, he must be, because that was incredible. What a run. So currently leading the points in qualifying, sits in first place with a 93 and doesn't improve on it. Yeah, a little mistake. A 90, though, all the way through the board from the judges. And Jamie Stanton, well, someone to keep your eye on today as we move through competition, because he is going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And, of course, these are only single runs. You know, we've got the battles to come this afternoon where the cars are going to be side by side, going into South Bank Corner, absolutely flat out with no hesitation, inches apart as we see Arunas Normontes on the start line.
Yeah, through the gears he comes, sitting in third in qualifying at the moment and third in the championship as Arunas goes for it. Goes for a big run right now, high on the bank. Nice line as he makes his way down to outside zone 3, off throttle, lets that car power through. Look at this, another guy right to the edge of the circuit, using all of the tarmac as Arunas goes for an absolute blinding run at the moment, collects the touch and go, gets that final zone, and once again, absolutely lights up the scoreboard.
Wow. Incredible. He was, I spoke to him this morning and I said, are you coming to Silverstone? And he was like, as if I wouldn't. Yeah, he said, I've been and watched, and he said, and I want to go. And a 92 from Pete and a 93 from Rich and a 92 from James. That just pops him into second position with a 92.3 for Arunas.
Wow, what a run from Arunas. 92.3, second place in qualifying at the moment, looking strong. We move it along. Chris Parnham now sits on the line of 71.3 to his 23rd. He's right on the cusp. The drop-off zone needs to improve. There's a few drivers yet to come that are outside of that zone. Chris Parnham through the gears, goes for a big clutch kick initiation. Car understeers massively. And that car definitely not 110% on the power. So Chris Parnham struggling. You can hear that car just not making the power it needs to make as Chris Parnham makes his way around for that final clipping point across the line, and that, I do believe, will be a 0. So, yeah, there we go. Make it official. It is a 0 for Chris Parnham. Yeah, big understeer on initiation, unfortunately. Just cannot hold it together. We go back to the start line to Johan Yogi in the Sandhaven Motorsport E36 BMW. Currently sitting in 14th with an 80.7. And Johan in a borrowed car from Michael Bennett. This car doing double duty from yesterday through the chicane, lighting up the tyre straight away. And Johan will be driving this thing with a throttle buried through the bulkhead, won't be able to lift whatsoever. Nice initiation though as Johan, once again another driver finding every inch of tarmac here at Teesside. Full throttle down, he comes into outside zone 3, lets that car wash. Look at that very nice drive from Johan as he goes right to the edge of the circuit. Picks up the outside zone, looks for 4, nice transition back into that second hairpin as Johan collects the touch and go and the final clipping point, fires on the angle across the line. Nicely done from Johan. So judges putting their scores into the system. And I can hear the judges just all talking amongst themselves there. 84 from Rich Newton. James with an 86, nice scores dropping in from Johan. And where does Peden go? 77. So Peden not liking it, drops him into 9th place, just out of that top 8. So an 82.3 for Johan. And Christian Rice now steps up to the line at 69.7. Needs to get it done, needs to improve on that score to try and get himself into the top 24. Currently out of competition is Christian Rice in the Firefly Speed Shop 350Z. And Christian Rice through the gears, down, fires the car across the circuit, dabs on the handbrake, gets that car set up nicely, just about scrapes the edge of outside zone 2. Gets himself down onto the bank. Oh, a big understeer.
Oh,
and shuts it down. And I wonder if he smoked himself out inside the car and couldn't see where he was going, because out of nowhere, turned it off. Yeah, thumbs up to the judges.
yeah, certainly something not right there.
So Christian Rice will 0 out. That means he is out of competition. So Christian Rice not making the show. And there we go. Tom Van Beek and now pulls up to the line. A cloud of smoke, and there erupts the little MX-5. 16th place at the moment, mid-pack. Work to be done for Tom Van Beek, but that car we know not running 110%, having problems. And I was messaged earlier to say it was a lambda sensor. So yeah, it was a faulty lambda sensor, not making that car run 110%. Van Beek though, going to go for it. Wonder if they got it sorted in the brakes between runs. No, it still sounds like it has that weird running problem as Tom Van Beek though goes for it. Shy on outside zone 2, midline down, through into 3 comes. Nice line now though in that first hairpin. Keeping that throttle absolutely buried is Tom Van Beek as it hops across the circuit. Tom Van Beek looking for the touch and go. Nicely done from Tom Van Beek with a wounded animal. He takes it across the line, and Van Beek doing everything he can.
Yeah, so let's see, where is he? 76 on his first run, 76.3, so still in the fight. Still in the fight.
Peden liking this one, a 90 from Peden. James not so much, an 88. And Rich with a 90 as well. Rich and Peden agreeing on that one. And there we go. Puts him into 4th place at the moment with an 89.3. And Tom Van Beek jumps himself way up the order. And here we go. Up next, it will be Stu Egdahl. So 20th place for Stu Egdahl at the moment in qualifying. Door slam shut. Egdahl slots the car into gear. Through the chicane he comes. 20th place. Going to have to battle it out in top 24 this afternoon. Through the gears he comes. He'll want to improve on that. Nice initiation from Stu Egdahl. Doesn't get high up on the bank though. Just again catching a wheel on outside zone 2. Nice line for 3 though. As Stu Egdahl goes wide. Oh, the car understeers massively. Avoids the tyres. Takes a big dive across the track. And Stu Egdahl stays in it, trying to redeem anything he can from that run, goes wide over the line.
Well, looking at that, I mean, going on what the judges said this morning, I don't know if that is going to be classed as a 0. It's looking that way. Oh no, they are still scoring it, but way down.
So
I mean, he had a 73.3, so still in
20th place at the moment. Going to be an anxious wait for Stu Egdahl as we look to see his score drop in. Yeah, look at this, 47s, 49. And Stu Egdahl's average is out at a 48.7. So 48.7 for Stu Egdahl.
I'm just looking at Steve Knott, JJ Stevens, Matthew Holder. They're all going to have to pull something out of the bag.
They certainly are.
Into that 24.
Well, it's one man that isn't and who is absolutely on point. It is Oliver Baker at 80.3 on his first qualifying run. 15th place. We will have to see him do battle. Oliver Baker, though, big clutch kick. Goes for a wide initiation. Look at that, right to the edge of the circuit. Nicely done. Baker through outside zone 2, a little bit higher up than the last couple of drivers we've seen as Baker comes down through into 3. Tidy line as Oliver Baker starts to collect and connect all the dots. Foot down, picks up that final clipping point across the line. Nice drive, very technical line drive there from Oliver Baker.
Sounds very V8-ish.
With a turbo.
With a turbo, yeah. I'm sure Glyn dropped me a message. I'm sure it's a V8. I'll stand corrected, but I'm sure Glyn will drop me a message, or Simon.
So here we go, scores dropping in, not as high as his first qualifying run, so it looks like he'll stay where he is with his first qualifying score of an 80.3. His second qualifying score of 77.7.
So where is Steenot in the standings then, Stuart, at the moment?
Out.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, you know he's out, but... So
26th.
26th. So Steenot, with it all to do, pressure will be on his shoulder. He's scored a 70.3 on his first. He needs at least to be in mid-70s to be guaranteed a place in the final. So Steenot comes down into South Bank corner and he's wide, a little bit of a wobble though, but manages to get it into 2. He's mid-track, which is what the judges allow, but he's shy on 3. Could have been deeper through 3. Gets it into that touch and go zone, and another touch and go, smoking it out again. He's shy of that touch and go, and almost shy on that final clip 6. Actually ran through it, but not as deep, and basically a rolling burnout over the final. If I was Steve, I wouldn't be holding my breath right now. Just shows the standard when you get a drive, run like that, and it's not enough.
Exactly that, yeah. I don't think it is enough. I think a 70.3 is going to be the best score he gets. I'm not sure if this is going to be an improvement. There were a lot of mistakes creeping into that run. As we see JJ Stevens down there awaiting his second qualifying run. Scores dropping in. Yeah, look, a 70
from Rich, yeah.
I think it's going to be a mirror image of his first qualifying run. Yeah, it is. It is exactly the same score. 70.3 for Steve Knott. Scores 2 identical runs. And unfortunately, doesn't make it into the big show later on this afternoon.
So is it JJ that sat on the cusp? Right, he's currently 24th, just in the battles.
He's just in the battles, but we do have Jay Wilding, who is out at the moment of the battles. So JJ Stevens needing to improve to secure that spot. Hammers down, looks for outside zone 2. Not much tidier run so far from JJ Stevens as he looks for outside zone 3. Gets it done, doesn't go as wide as some of the other drivers we've seen. Locks up the foot brake, trying to push the back end of that skyline into those outside zones. Transitions back through 4, looks for the touch and go, nicely collected. JJ Stevens, 2 outside zone 5 and across the line.
Is it going to be enough to jump him up? Is it going to put somebody else in the drop zone at 24th?
Oh, there's 2 out. We've got Holder out and we've got Jay Wilding out.
Yeah, at this moment in time.
Danny Herald. And Danny Herald. So it does look like JJ Stevens has done enough to just move himself up the order. Just a few more points dropping in there from our judges.
So 75 from Peden, 76 from James and Rich. That puts him with a 75.7.
And it moves him up to 18th place at the moment. There we go. Matthew Holder now sits on the line at 61.3.
And it is a JZ in Oliver Baker's car. I stand corrected.
Yeah, I was right. I knew it.
Thank you, Callum.
So there we go. Off the line, it is Matthew Holder.
And G.
Matthew Holder, a.k.a. Drift Smurf in the blue V8 BMW Compact. Nice initiation from Holder. Oh, a little bit of understeer. Now he's getting high up on the bank. Just about dabs the edge of outside zone 2 with that rear wheel, but a straighten as he comes down the bank. Looks wide for these outside zones on transition 4, easily collected, and the touch and go picked up. But Matthew Holder just dropping a few points. I'm not sure if that's going to be enough for Matthew Holder to play this afternoon. So scores dropping in from our judges. Just having a word with our clock, of course, and we are going to get those guys down in front of the banking and allow you guys out on track this afternoon, as Mark said. Waiting for the average to drop in from Matthew Holder and the final score from our head judge James.
A 63, so a 64, so an improvement on his first run, but sadly not enough to cut it into the top 24. And Arik, unfortunately, as we said earlier, gearbox blew in practice this morning, and the team pure and simply didn't have enough time to get the gearbox swapped. So unfortunately, we won't be seeing Arik out on track in his Sora. In the meantime, there, Dream Car Giveaways sponsored driver of Stefan Stefanov. I know he spoke to me. I spoke to him earlier in the week, and he said he has to give a massive shout out to his sponsors who have helped him get here this weekend. And like I say, he's borrowed some tyres to be able to do it. And we saw him on the podium at the last round here, at round 3. And look at the initiation, using half of the track deep into 1. Look at that, right on the outside edge of the track. That's what I was saying about being deep in these clipping zones. Pulls it down nicely. Again, deep into 3. Lovely line around the outside through the zone. Look at that, right on the very edge. This could be a high point scoring run through that touch and go over the final clip and over the line. The judges giving Stefan a round of applause. So Stefan, another one that's going to be good to watch in the finals. I mean, that's going to be 80 surely.
I think that's going to be a 90-point run there from Stefan Stefanov. 76 at the moment, an 89 close. Higher 80s at the moment dropping in. Rich agrees with Peden with an 89. James drops his scoring, and it will be a 90 from James. So there we go, a nice jump up the order from Stefan Stefanov. Gets himself up into that great 8 and an 89.3. Stefanov improves massively. So 5th place for Stefan Stefanov at the moment. Still a few more guys left to go. Hayden Cruikshank now have a 72, so 22nd place for Hayden Cruikshank. He needs to improve massively to get himself an easier run later on in competition. Nice initiation, goes for it this time. Let's say Toyota wash up the bank, but it just doesn't get to outside zone 2 and starts to bleed some points away as Hayden Cruikshank, as you see him in the car working the handbrake down into outside zone 3. Transitions back now through into the second hairpin on 4. Nice line as Hayden Cruikshank picks up the throttle, slams it through the floor and gets himself across the line.
Yep, so a 72. So yeah, so will that be an improvement? It certainly looks like it.
I think the shallow line on South Bank is it's going to hurt his score, but it's going to be an improvement. I think it's going to hurt it.
Peden, 81 from Rich. And James scores that as an 80, so an 80.3, if I got my maths right.
There we go. Got your maths on point today, an 80.3 for Hayden Cruikshank. We go back to the line, just
so who's currently sat on 24th place then, Stu?
Chris Parnham.
Chris Parnham, right on the drop zone.
On the cusp at the moment. One more driver to go that could take him out. And 2 more drivers, could be Danny Herold or Jay Wilding. Up next is Justina Snorker screaming through. Held onto that one. Looked like the car was going to fall off the edge of the circuit as it bounced along the edge of the tarmac. Justina Snorker's full throttle once again. And he did message me to say it's a BMW M62 underneath the bonnet with a Scania turbo bolted to the front of it. As Justina Snorker smokes out Teesside.
Great run from Justinus. Will it be an improvement? Only 7. Where's he currently sitting, Stu? No, we're just getting the scores in. A 91 from Peden, a 90 from Rich. So he's definitely going up the order. Could he make that top 8? And a 92, so that'll be a 91-point run for Justinus.
Wow. Look at that from Justinus
From
Norcus.
18th to 3rd place.
Wow, look at that. What a statement from Justinus Norcus. Jumps himself well up the order and gets himself into the party later on this afternoon. Danny Herold with a 68.3 needs to improve. Out of the competition at the moment, he could take Chris Parnham out of the show if he can improve on a 68.3. Through the gate, he comes down through the gears. You can see Jay Wilding, the other man that could potentially take Parnham out of competition, warming up his tyres. Nice initiation, but Herold down on the bank. It's not going to be a nice line. He's starting to bleed points. He's washed way across the edge of the circuit. He's on a really odd line as he comes into that first hairpin. Lets the car wash. See it almost pick a wheel up there as he stands on the accelerator, flicks the car from left to right. Picks up the touch and go. Herold right to the edge of the circuit. Another big wobble as he picks up that final clipping point and across the line.
Yeah, a little bit scrappy from Danny.
Yeah, I think the pressure getting to him. I think the pressure of the top 24 just getting to him ever so slightly. So judges' scores dropping in.
And a 68 from Rich.
And they're all heads down, all thinking about this one. Yeah, Peden drops in a 68, and there we go.
69 from James, so it's going to be close to his original. In fact, yes, it's exactly the same score. So a 68.3. We'll see Danny out of the competition. But no, again, once again, happy birthday to his better half. Thank you for putting up with Danny coming down and taking part in the UKDC. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. In the meantime, Jay Wilding comes off the line in this, well, S15? 14. I'm sorry, I was thinking of, I can never get over the graphics on this car. They are absolutely tremendous. So Jay is the only driver now that could push Chris Parnham out of that top 24 in this wild car. This car, formerly owned by Mark Webb, the famous BMX drifter, BMX rider, and Jay Wilding there. That might be enough. That might be enough to.
That was a lot tidier run. Yeah, that was a lot tidier run from Jay Wilding there. Didn't make as mistakes he did into those hairpins. A 56 on his first qualifying run. He will definitely improve on that score. Look at this, a 72. I think he just took Chris Parnham out of the game. I think Jay Wilding just slid himself into top 24 later on this afternoon. And we await for those final few scores to drop in. Just 3 more drivers to go after these scores drop in.
So that will
and
be
the average will be a
72.3.
And it puts him into 23rd place. We go back to the start line to Bagsy. Bagsy with an 89.3. Look, mega run from a spectating point of view and a commentating point of view. But unfortunately, judges not liking it as much. Bagsy slams the door shut, slams the car into gear. He gets the thumbs up to go. Can he improve on an 89.3? He'll want to get himself up in qualifying. He knows he needs every point he can. Can he out-qualify? Big angle initiation. Wow! Right to the edge of the circuit. Even the judges applauding this one mid-track as Bagsy hammers the throttle through the floor. Dials on the angle in outside zone 3. Bagsy coming for it this weekend. Shallows up. Misses that out of zone. Transitions to 4. He starts to bleed a few points away from this score now as he puts the throttle back to the floor again across the line. He waves to the crowd. Teesside makes some noise. Bagsy.
I don't think.
And that had all the potential until he made that mistake.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
All of the potential until he made that mistake.
Out of that first hairpin.
I think that was a gear. I'm sure he fired it on an angle, went to shift down a gear and just couldn't do it. Yeah, look at this, a poor score. 69 from Peden, didn't like it, and that was a big mistake. You know, if you're chasing that, that was almost a complete shutdown.
So is he in the top 8, Stu, or is he? Where is he at the moment?
So a 70 average.
7th. So
just about. And he's just about in it. Matt Denham up next, a 70 for Bagsy on his second qualifying run. 89.3 will do the job. An 88.7 for Matt Denham. And again, a nice clean run from our point of view. Looked impressive, but judges not liking it as much.
So currently in 8th position. So currently sat ready to go into the top 16 regardless of what happens here. All depending on...
Wow.
Oh, look at that entry. A massive flick entry, nice and wide. Midway through clipping point 2, shallows the line slightly as they're permitted, deep into 3, deep round hairpin 1 out to that clipping zone, gets his back wheel just in the zone, out to the next clipping point, then it's the touch and go, then pulls it off back towards the final clip and over the line for Matthew Denham in the Jap Speed S13. So yeah, victory last weekend at the Drift Pro Championship at Donington Park and the Drift Carner event. So Matt Denham on a higher as well, along with Rob Black. The guys have been down at over at Carfest twice already this year doing some demonstrations. So the Jap Speed boys getting around with a 92 from Peden, a 91 from Rich, and a 91 from James. So that will be a 91.3.
So wow, a 91.3 for Denham, slips himself into 3rd place in qualifying, and things are heating up now. One more driver to go, one more qualifying run to get done and in the bag. A 73.7 for the part-time rockstar, the part-time drifter, the full-time rockstar, Carl Farrar in the G2E Motorsport. Toyota Chaser comes off the line through the gears. That car absolutely incredible. Another guy making his way down to Drift Pro. And the following weekend, nice initiation, takes his time, thinks about it, sets that car up nicely on the outside zone, want to get himself up higher in the show. As he shallows up the angle for outside zone 3, looks to put the back end of that Chaser to the edge of the circuit. Nice transition back, final hairpin, navigated into the touch and go. He goes right to the edge of the circuit, almost 3 wheels over as Carl Farrar rounds out qualifying here for the Pro Class Round 4 of the 2021 Drift Championship.
Right, so is that going to be enough to put him into that grade 8, into that top 8, which will automatically give him a place in the 16. Obviously, the 9th place drivers through to 24th are going to do battle first and join the top 8 qualifiers in our competition this afternoon. What we are going to do now, boys and girls, those of you who are here on the banking, and an 81 point, and that drops him into 16th place.
So he's going to have to work for it this afternoon. So let's take a look at the graphic on your screen right now. For you guys watching at home, you can see a completely smoked out Teesside Autodrome. There we go. Current standings. Let's take a look. 24th place, Brad Wall takes it in to the show and takes out Chris Barnum, Steve Knott, Finn Wells, Matt Smith, Christian Rice, Danny Herald out of the show. Grantham gets his way in there. JJ Stevens in 20th. 16th place, mid-pack, Carl Farrar. Let's take a look at the top 8, though. Bagsy scrapes in 8th place with an 89.3. Stefanoff in 7th. Van Beek in 6th. Barker in 5th. Justinas Norcus in 4th. Matt Denham in 3rd. Arunas Namontas in 2nd. And Jamie Stanton, ladies and gentlemen, rounds out qualifying here, taking 1st place. Well, let's take a look at that qualifying run. Let's see how Jamie Stanton did it. Let's take one more look at it before we head to a quick break, and then we'll be back later on this afternoon with our top 24 competition. Jamie Stanton's run, Mark, incredible. Out of nowhere, rocks up and steals the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last-minute entry as well. Only told me on Friday it was coming, and there we are. Look, just a little bit of transition, a tiny dab of the handbrake, so deep into one, right on the white line on the outside of the track. Not quite on the edge of the track there, so the judges obviously marking them down just a few points for that. But look at the line through that hairpin. That is absolutely superb. And ladies and gents, when he is in that lead position, this will be the perfect lead for somebody else to chase him perfectly and sit on his door all the way through the track and over the clipping point 6 on the live stream. Wonderful run from Jamie Stanton. Absolutely deserves first place qualifier. So ladies and gents, again, a big thank you to our sponsors for making this happen. What we're going to do, we're going to have a short break. We are going to announce who we're going to tell the drivers who they're going to be battling out. Yep. And then once we've got them up, we are going to then bring them out onto track, and we're going to invite the crowd of those of you that are here on the banking to come and meet the drivers, and myself and Ian will do a bit of an introduction to the drivers. We'll have a chat with a few of them, and then we will start the finals at 3 o'clock. So we will get those cars down onto the track as soon as possible. So give us 20 minutes or so. Enjoy the weather. Pop down and see Belinda at the stall. Go and get some food, and we will be back shortly.
So there we go. Thank you very much. See you at 3 o'clock.
We are Funk Motorsport, your heat management specialists. Based in the UK, we strive for perfection, developing thermal products trusted by professional race teams and drivers worldwide. Performance, protection, reliability.